Welcome back, everybody. 3D printers are amazing. They create all sorts of things. Well, now for the first time in our area, they're being used to build houses. Now we talked to the Corporation to Develop Communities of Tampa, the CDC, who is on a mission to use 3D printers to create more affordable housing as well as education on this expanding technology. Tampa's one of those places that just is clamoring for affordable housing. What are the issues you guys are seeing?
So as you know, prices are really escalating. You know, the average house in Hillsborough and Tampa is over $400,000. So that makes it really unattainable if, you know, you have lower incomes. So we wanted to create spaces and access to homes that people can afford, everyday people, right? People who are janitors, people who are teachers, and just making sure that it's affordable for them.
The wait list for affordable housing is astronomical.
Tampa Housing Authority has over 20,000 people waiting on their list just to get into some place that they can afford, right? And Tampa is continuing to grow. Over 35,000 people come to Florida like every day. And of course, Tampa gets a large percentage of that. So we need to be able to really increase the scale of affordable housing and attainable housing.
This NOLE project, most of it is going to be traditional housing, but then you're going to do 3D printed housing as well.
What we wanted to do was kind of ramp up, right? So we're currently under construction in the first 3D printed home in the city of Tampa. That's around the corner from Noble Pine Way on Lurline Circle. So we wanted to do one, and these are, you know, permitted projects. So these aren't just proofs of concept. Like, we got to follow the Florida building code and things like that. So these are, projects that are happening for sure. And then our next project, which will be Noble Pine Way, is going to be 4 houses. So we're kind of ramping up. And then we're doing a complete subdivision called Heroes Landing, which would be for disabled veterans, and that entire subdivision will be 3D printed. So we wanted to ramp it up and not just jump, head first into this new technology without knowing what we were doing.
There are some serious advantages to a 3D printed home when you were using concrete.
Yeah, so not only is it an advantage about building it, but the material as well. So the cement that we have. So the cement is actually being upgraded as well. So you can have polymers in it. So as you know, sometimes cement may crack and the polymers will release so they can fill in those cracks. So it's just amazing technology. You can put color into the cement so you don't have to paint the home. It's already painted. So it's really interesting that not only the manufacturing of the technology, but also the use of the cement is also increasing as well.
Then you kind of get into the environment, right? Like the CO2, the carbon footprint is definitely a smaller carbon footprint compared to traditional. There's a lot less waste. When we're printing walls, I mean, there's very little waste. But if you go to a traditional site where a single family or a multi-family home is being built, man, there is waste, there's hazards and all kinds of stuff. And so with 3D printing, that is cut down tremendously.
So what is the cost for a 3D printed home versus the other homes that are in this community?
In construction, we tend to look at a square foot price. And so just for a comparison, like a 1,300 square foot single family home, 3-bed, 2-bath. Right now we're paying contractors. So our model is we hire a contractor, they come in, they build for us. So we're kind of tied to their cost, their material costs, things like that. So right now we're paying about $160 per square foot. And the home that we're building on Lurline Circle is going to be about $120 a square foot. And as we get more efficient with using the technology, as more people start using it, the material costs will come down. We plan to be somewhere in the $100 to $115 range. Probably $100, $110 a square foot. And so that's a major savings. So if you look at today's prices at $160 per square foot, that 1,300 square foot home, just build cost would be about $208,000. But at $110 a square foot, that'll be $143,000. So you can see there's a huge difference just in that square foot savings.
What is your vision when you have the school age kids get to workforce age? What are your hopes and dreams?
Yeah, so technology greatly changes. The one thing that we have to look forward to is change, right? We wanted to make sure that the next generation has the ability to have these skill sets already. when you think about pipelining things, so eventually the entire home can be printed from a 3D printer, including the roof when technology catches up. So you can imagine the type of jobs from people doing the AI component of the programming of how to program the computer system to print the home, to, you know, all these different components of the process, and making sure that these young folks have that skill and that technology is going to be an amazing journey.
This is life-changing what you guys are doing. From your perspective, that's got to be amazing that you're able to create these opportunities for folks that wouldn't otherwise have that.
That's what it's all about. You know, we also had disabled veterans who thought that their pension would not afford them the American dream, right? And to see these young men, you know, who've given their all, holding up keys so that their wife can be proud, and, you know, and having older folks who thought that they could never enter or own a home, right? Even at 60, right? So it's been an amazing journey. And, you know, that's the things that we are really excited about, is making those dreams come true.